We're not in the business of mediocre. It has to be perfect. I have a guy that had an insulation company. Best business model ever. No one ever sees your work. He always said, "Why you build cabinets? That's the number one thing people see."
Always look at.
But here's the thing. I kind of like being that guy. Like, if I was the insulator,
You'd be like, look at me. I'm going to put the insulation on the outside of the drywall in this job.
Yeah, just see my insulation.
So we can all talk about it.
It's so amazing. Look at that insulation.
Hi, I'm Denise Sabia, and together with Mike Bowman, we're your hosts for Renovation Radio. Mike and I are passionate about helping people create the home of their dreams. So if you're thinking about remodeling your home, or if you're just looking for some inspiration, we're here to help you make your dream home a reality. This is Renovation Radio.
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 This guy gets me all juiced up. On our episode this week, it's Joe Trave, the president of Village Handcrafted Cabinetry. I love this man. He's one of my favorite people. Don't tell Mike Bowman. He always brings the energy. He is one of the biggest hustlers I know, and I can't wait to hear his backstory and what he has to say. This is going to be a good one. Okay, as usual, this is also a surprise to Mike Bowman because I plan the whole episodes, and he's like a typical husband in that, like, he's like, oh my God, the Christmas gifts were great. The kids loved it. What do we get them? That's the podcast.
I work better spontaneously. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he
I'm
does.
sorry.
That's okay. Even if I try to get him to prep, he doesn't. Like, I'll drop these things off in his office, or I'll email him. And
I don't know.
No, he doesn't.
182 jobs running simultaneously that he's got to manage.
All right. Well, before we get too far into it, we have to say who you are. I'm very excited because you are one of my favorite people.
Oh, thank you.
You know why? Because you have the energy, which is funny because you always say that to me, and I had said that to Greg. I was like, oh my God, Joe Trave just has the energy. But you have the hustle.
Hustle.
Like, that's
Hustle.
It's the hustle.
It's the hustle.
So maybe that might be the name of this podcast episode too. Hustling cabinets.
No, there
I
was
don't
a
know.
line
I'm
that
still
I like.
hustling cabinets.
Yeah, you're still hustling cabinets. So you are Joe Trave. What's the official? We just call you Village, but
So
your official name,
our company name is Village Handcrafted Cabinetry.
right? Which you renamed when you bought it.
When So are you asking me about the background of
You can
where
say
it
it.
started? All
Yeah,
right.
you can
So in 1999, I left my family's restaurant business. I was 24 years old, and I grew up in the restaurant business. And I went to North Monco Technical Career Center when I was a senior at Lansdale Catholic. We went all through Catholic school, all four of us, and so I wanted to go to tech school, but it was my senior year. And I wanted to learn carpentry. So they said, sorry, Mrs. Trave, your son can't come. She marched me in and like pulled my hand, and we're going over there. We're going to talk to them. And she said, you're taking my son. I put 4 children through Catholic school, never used one day of public school. You're going to put my son through 1 year of public school. So they took me, and I ended up becoming an ambassador for that school. So, and now today I employ many of their former students.
Right.
And I am a huge proponent
That's a
of
great
technical
place.
education. My friends back then in the 90s, if you didn't go to college at my school, you were, quote unquote, kind of a grease monkey or
What
a
year did
failure.
you graduate high school?
1993.
Oh,
so,
really?
Yeah. So
you were just on the beginning of that.
Yeah, but it was like everybody was going to start their
Right.
career at some big college.
You were going
and
to be
where
left
we-
behind.
Correct.
When we were in tech school, and I graduated in 91, tech school was frowned upon. I don't want to say frowned upon.
Completely.
It was not accepted. Now there's waiting lists to get into tech school.
So, Mike, where you're going here is what is so amazing. Middle Bucks, Upper Bucks, and North Monco all have up to 2-year waiting lists. So kids have finally realized that the trades are coming back, right? And I can get a good job. I can learn with my hands. I didn't do well in a classroom setting. Once a guy gave me a hammer and said, frame this wall 16 inches on center, I was like, okay, I can do that.
But why did you wait till senior year?
Because I thought I wanted to go into the restaurant business. And then I realized very quickly that's nights and weekends and holidays. And that really is tough.
A lot of cocaine.
So, a lot of cocaine.
At the very least. Weird pants.
So what's weird is my hobby at the time was woodworking.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting at, Joe.
My job was cooking. Now my hobby is cooking and my job is woodworking. It's a juxtaposition.
What was your family's restaurant? Anything I
So
would
they
know?
had, they still have one left. At one point, we had four. I had an Italian restaurant, Trave's.
Where was that?
It was on Broad Street in Lansdale. We had a diner on Welsh Road in North Wales for 25 years. It was Trave's. My family still owns Pizza Time Saloon in West Point.
What?
Yeah.
Wait,
So
there's a Pizza Time Saloon in Conshohocken,
they're
too.
totally different, restaurant.
Oh,
but
that was
yeah.
my first
Yep.
date with my first husband.
Oh, boy. So anyway, I got into the cabinet business. My father, I went to him and I said, listen, I just can't do this restaurant.
Were you scared to go to your father to do that?
Well, it was. I was his only son in an Italian family with three older sisters.
Was his
and I
name
said,
Joe?
Of course.
Is your
yeah.
son's name Joe?
Yes, of course.
Joey.
So I went to him and I said, listen, I can't do this my entire life. I want to start a cabinet business. And about a year and a half earlier, he was so gracious and he said, let's build a little shop in the backyard, in my parents' backyard. He loved woodworking as a hobby. He taught me woodworking. So if you all remember, you would go into Wawa back in the day in the early, mid-90s, late 90s, and you would see little pieces of loose leaf, 8.5 by 11 paper, with little slits on the bottom that had your phone number
And
written.
you ripped it off.
And it would say, my name's Joe Trave. I'm a cabinet maker. Pretty much, I'll do whatever you need.
Right. I
It
have a
was
hammer
like,
and a saw.
Yes.
What do you need?
Yes. So I built my business that way, right? So this is 1998. By 99, I'm full-time. I'm in the backyard. My mom was still in the home, in the house. I was just married.
You were 23.
I was 23,
The age
24
of your
years
oldest
old.
child right now.
I just got married. My wife had a great job. She had benefits. So it was like, all right, I'm going to give this a shot. My father gave me the blessing and he said, listen, your wife's got a good job. Give it a shot. You never know until you try.
It was
That's
at that
awesome.
point or never.
It was at
that's
that-
where that point is.
He
So-
was like, this kid has been walking around with
Really-
a pencil behind his ear for the last 20 years.
Right. I was in the garage making like stereo cabinets when you would stack stereos up and the wreckers would be on the bottom. You're right. I was building that at 12. So
I love that.
So really,
best part.
really what happened was I started to get work and it's like, okay, I can do this. I can support myself. My father, who was my mentor, comes home one day and said, I have lung cancer. We'll see what's going on. And next thing you know, he's got a couple months to live. So I got to spend every day of the last 8 months of my dad's life with him. He would sit there. He was still in the restaurant business, but would come home early because he was really struggling with pain. He sat there next to me in my little shop and would say, Joseph, no, trim this, route this, sand this. I look back now and say, wow, this opportunity gave me that time that I would have never had.
Yeah, when
Right,
you look back and
correct.
you see everything happens for a reason.
I spent the last 9 months and got to be with him every day. And that was an amazing time. So then fast forward about a year later, I'm working in the backyard. I find a gentleman through Nary who Greg Harth and I were in Nary at the same time in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I met a gentleman that said, hey, there's a cabinet shop that's for sale up in Quakertown.
How old were you at this time?
I was 25,
Oh my gosh.
right? A young baby. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. So I said to my family members, I said, listen, I can't afford this, but if you guys want to go in as a partnership, we'll do this. I'll run that business. You guys have the restaurants. So we take over this small business from a former Nary member. His father owned it. So I bought him out for a small amount of money, gave him a job. He needed to, get a couple years into retirement, taught me the kitchen business. So I started to sell to companies like Hearth Builders, Creative Contracting, local remodelers. And I was very involved in Nary. So started to sell to these people, and then the business gradually grew. So we were in 5,000 square feet in Quakertown. We grew and grew and grew. That was 2002, 3, 4, 5, 6. And next thing you know, we're outgrown
You're
5,000, maxed out. And I had maxed out my 400 square foot shop in 2002.
Oh, it was like the size of this room.
Right, to 5,000 square feet. And then we said, oh my gosh, we're selling more than we can produce. So being in Quakertown, which was, 40 minutes from my home, I decided to move back to Lansdale, which is where I was born and raised. And I saw this renaissance of that town that I felt was very similar to Ambler, and Doylestown, those renaissance of those towns. I wanted to employ people there, and I wanted to become one of the larger employers there. So we planted in Lansdale in 2003. Fast forward to 2017, we had a showroom. We had 25,000 square feet. Then we outgrew that space. Then we moved across town, about a mile away. Now we have 70,000 square feet. We have about 100 employees. And now we're the third largest employer in our town, which is very cool.
Crazy.
Right?
And you're in the town with Merck.
We're in the
Otherwise, you would have been the second
Well,
largest.
they're West
Merck
Point.
was- oh, okay.
So it's the hospital, Lansdale Hospital in North Penn School District, and then us, I think.
And then you.
And that's really, really amazing,
It
right?
really
so this
is.
little business, it's like the little train that could, right? And what's really strange is that was never my intent. My intent was to get out of a busy restaurant business with 300 employees and go build cabinets in this back little shop by myself and have peace and quiet.
And be like the new Yankee workshop.
Well,
Peace and quiet,
okay.
relax.
Mike,
Segue.
I was insane with Norm Abram, right? I had met him. I was like a groupie of Norm Abram. So, right?
Grew up watching This Old House with my dad every
You got
weekend.
it. So I would go into work in our restaurants, hit record, like you could post record on a VCR, remember? And like set it up for timer. It was like, I don't know, 6 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. Norm Abram would come on. He'd show you how to make a cabinet. And boom, I was obsessed with the new Yankee Workshop. Read all the books. Next thing you know, back in 2001, I went back to North Monco Tech. I needed some side hustle money. I was teaching cabinet making at night.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was really cool. It was like, I'm teaching a bunch of, random people how to make cabinets.
But people like you who probably when they were little, they're like, I always wanted to do this. Now I'm a nurse or now I'm whatever. And I really love
Or now
what
I'm
I wanna
74
know.
years old and I have a tremble and I'm running a shaper. And I'm like, oh my God, you're going to take your arm off. So that was a little unique. But so here I am, 50 years old this year, and we've got an amazing company, amazing group of people, but it's the same challenges, still hustling. So you said hustle, right?
Yep.
And I, talking to Greg out in the showroom, we started the same year in 99. I think we started working together in 2002. He was doing an addition on a job in Bucks County, and I was doing the cabinets. We met, and I'm like, "You're in Nary," and I said, "Yeah, I'm in Nary." And we were, he was a year older than me. We became friends with a group of guys in that group, and here we are, still working together, doing business together. 25 years later.
Yeah, you have a lot of similarities and a lot of like complete polar opposites.
We're very
you
different
have-
people, but we're very
Right.
similar on some
the
aspects.
drive
Yeah.
and the leadership.
Yeah, and I think the passion for
Right.
it, right? I mean, like, I'm still super passionate about cabinets. I love wood. I'm not a tree hugger. I'm not the typical, tree hugger. I don't drive a Subaru. No offense to anybody that drives a Subaru.
No.
Who cares?
No. But no, I'm into wood, right? And I'm into, it's organic and it's the most. So the cool thing is wood is the number one most renewable resource in the world. We use a lot of trees in our business. What most people don't know is that there are more trees today in this country than the last 200 years.
Well, do you get like kickback from people about like trees? Like do tree
No,
huggers
but
come and
like
bother you and pick at your driveway
okay,
or-
I'm a classic conservative guy, so I know that a tree takes 30, 40 years to gestate, right? And I mean, we're planting 7 trees for every tree we take down. I mean, people that are harvesting wood for a living are pretty smart. Okay, we need
The science is there.
the science is there. I mean, Penn State is the number one program in the country for forestry, so forestry management. So they know how to manage forest now. We don't have old growth 300-year-old trees any longer, but, we need oak to, be planted 40, 50 years, and we'll harvest it.
It is
So.
like the logging industry is one of the best things going for the environment right now. I'm
Absolutely.
pretty sure. As you cut down trees, you plant 3 more, and that's like standard across
It's
like all of Pennsylvania.
Absolutely correct. We're managing that resource very well in this state, and most of our hardwood comes from Pennsylvania, New York, West Virginia, and Virginia. That kind of Appalachian Trail. I mean, that's really the bulk of the hardwood in this country. So.
Well, you talked about a few things in your monologue about yourself. I'm just kidding. I love you.
Do you see the
but you
see the
gave me
middle
some
fingers
ideas.
over here?
We can have alcohol, but we can't have middle fingers. But so you talked about wood. Like, what's your favorite type of wood for kitchen cabinets? Like, not to work with, but like the look of it. Like when you're creating a piece, like look.
So I'm still a big fan of walnut. Yeah, I
I
think
like
walnut
walnuts,
is amazing. But I like character grade wood.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that has knots and little
Like
checks
the
in it.
fisheye walnut,
Mm-hmm.
is it called?
You got it. Yes. Spalted maple. I mean, the challenge is we don't have the opportunity to work with those all the time.
Well, and people aren't as daring.
They're not as daring. Now,
They want what their neighbor had.
we just did a really beautiful kitchen for a company in Bucks County where the island, we did a mahogany frame on the door, a maple molding on the door, and then a spalted maple center panel, but a painted perimeter. So like they went
I wanna
more.
see that.
It's amazing. They went more. That muted green, kind of like that wall there, that wall board on the perimeter with this really unique wood island. And that's where you can get a little creative, right?
Yeah.
Should you get tired of that 20 years down the road, you could always change out those doors on that island or paint the island.
Right.
But I don't think you will. I mean, that's really like a statement piece.
Right,
And
it's the
it's like an
clients-
antique.
It's the clients who work with designers and the designers like push them a little bit that'll do these different
Correct.
finishes. Where if you just get like Joe Schmo going into Home Depot, they're like, I just want the white
I
painted.
want white with
They're
a blue
scared.
island. Right.
And then you also think that if you're budget conscious, you're like, I want this to still look good in 20 years. Where some people who have a little bit more to spend are like, in 10 years, if I don't like it, I'm just going to have another one built.
Correct. Or
So
I'll just
there's-
go get another house.
Right, burn it down.
Yeah. I mean, trends,
That's my next question.
then let's do it.
What are some trends that you can't stand?
So
The gray
can't
and white
stand,
kitchen.
Yeah. Grayish, right? The grayish thing is
Wimping out.
yeah, I would say get bold with color. Like I'm not into cold spaces. I want to see a space that's warm and inviting. Post COVID, everybody was like, we want warm spaces. Pre-COVID, it was like we want cool and gray, crisp whites. Now we're seeing this move back to really warm whites, right? Not buttercream.
No.
Not this buttercream with a brown glaze from 1999.
No more glazes.
Honey oak.
No, but like warm tones,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So warm greens, not too warm, not but
So
like,
you're okay with painted cabinets?
oh, listen, when people come to me every day and say, are my painted cabinets going to go out of style? I say, look at 1920s. White tin cabinets or metal cabinets of the day. I just said, they're white, right? They were painted white. And white was a sign of cleanliness, right? So white, we're just saying we're not in that stark gray white. We're in those creamy whites now. So no, I'm building a new kitchen in my own house, and it's going to be a creamy white.
Depth and texture. That's the two things that people want to see in their home. The cabinets you described, like depth.
Yep.
And cozy.
Texture. Nobody wants to see 1991 white drywall, honey oak cabinets. Like they want to see something that each room is its own environment.
Pay
Exactly.
attention. How did you learn how to run a business?
I was in community college for a year and a half. And again, the college thing wasn't my thing. My parents were very entrepreneurial, always had businesses, and they taught me how to make money. Like, this is something we're not teaching kids today. Like, ultimately, you have to survive in this world. So my parents taught me how to make money. You got to buy low, sell high, right? And today that's very difficult,
Yeah,
right?
we teach kids how to earn money, not make money.
Correct.
And there's a big difference.
Correct. So I learned how to make money at an early age. You buy eggs for 20 cents and you sell them for $3.99. You're making money. You got to figure out your cost, your overhead, your labor. But I can make $1 on 2 eggs every time I sell those. So I kind of figured that out pretty early. And
You were like born with the passion, I think, which like drives
I think
it.
so. But I often look back and say, I think I would have been a very good employee because I want the company to do well, even if it's not mine, right? I love success and I hate lethargy and I don't like laziness. I have a real problem with laziness. If my mother used to make me, if I didn't make my bed and it was 9 o'clock at night, she said, "What are you doing?" And I'd say, "I'm getting into bed." And she says, not until you make the bed.
It's literally on my list of questions for you if you make your bed every day.
Oh,
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
to.
So-
It's like a surprise for yourself when you
Yeah.
come home.
Yeah.
You know?
The bed's made.
Exactly.
Look,
Makes
it's
zero
it makes you
sense.
feel
Christmas,
good.
right?
Yeah.
It's ready to go. So,
You don't make your bed?
My wife makes the bed.
Yeah.
First of all,
Yes.
if I was not married, no. I would throw the cover back and that's it.
I am shocked.
It's a senseless. I could do so many more things with my life than make
I
it
don't
better.
even know you anymore. That is crazy. I would have thought you made your bed every day. I thought I knew him. He doesn't even make his bed.
Yeah.
You're my new favorite.
No, stop it, Denise. I know
Just
who your
kidding.
favorite
Mike
is.
Bowman's always my favorite.
Yeah.
I always said to Greg, I'll
So-
be your best number 2 through 5. Like, you know what I mean? I have no interest in owning my own business at this
Same.
point. I have lots of ideas, but I really enjoy getting in there and like helping
Yeah.
create
We are
this
really good
thing.
sous chefs.
I'm not sure how much longer. So owning a business with 100 employees is incredibly challenging.
Yes.
And I'm not sure at 50. So I've hit this kind of midlife crisis thing. All right, how much longer can I run at this pace, right? This pace is hard and it's taxing on you. And so I question whether I've got 10 or 15 years left in the tank or if I only have 5 years left in the tank. So that's, Village is a big business now. So,
And your kids aren't interested in working there.
No, not
not.
at all. So, I mean,
So-
Village could be another somebody's, baby at some point.
Cash in.
Yeah.
You were going to have a house on the beach of Marco Island in no time.
There you go. We'll see.
So you own a business for over 25 years of 100 people, and you actually were never really an employee in your life, except for working for your parents' restaurant.
I had a job maybe in the 7th grade. When my first job was in
That's
7th
really
grade.
interesting. I
I
think
was a
that
custodian.
you
or
were
something.
never actually an employee, and now
Never,
you have
never.
100 employees.
Yeah.
That is
And so
really
You're
rare.
an employee to those employees.
Well, right.
Because if
You-
you can no longer slack off because you have 100 mouths waiting.
Ever.
Right.
So there's
Well, that's a
there's
different
very little
responsibility.
downtime, and it's a blessing and a curse. So I get up every day at 4:30. I'm very regimented. So I go to the gym every day. I go to work at 7:15. I get done at 6:00. I go home. I eat dinner. I walk around my yard, and then I go to bed. All right. So what else do you got for me?
The fact that, did you read my list before
No.
you got here?
No. Did we get through that whole list?
No, we're not through it all.
Okay.
Okay. No, I got more up my sleeve. How many
Yes.
kitchens are you doing a year?
About 300 or 400.
Very good.
Yeah.
I did the math. Yeah, I read that you do like 7 to 10 kitchens a week, and I'm still thinking about emptying my dishwasher.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
7 to 10 kitchens a week is crazy.
And so think about this. In our business, we're not in the business of mediocre. It has to be perfect. Every product going out has to be like, there's no room for error because
on anything.
it's not like, I hate to, so I have a guy that I know that had an insulation company, and it's the best business model ever. No one, once the drywall goes up, no one ever sees your work.
Yeah.
Right? It's behind the drywall. So he always said, "Why you build cabinets? That's the number one thing
that
people
everyone
see."
always look at.
They're opening that door every day, and if it squeaks, it's your problem. If the drawer is cockeyed, it's your problem.
and
you
it's
know?
the highest number on a proposal.
And it's the number one line item. So you're front and center. But here's the thing. I kind of like being front and center. I kind of like being that guy. Right?
Stop.
So, like, if I was the insulator, I'd kind of be bored.
Yeah.
You'd be like,
Right?
look at me. I'm
Yeah.
going to put the insulation on the outside of the drywall on this job.
Yeah, just see my
So we can all
insulation.
talk about
It's
it.
so amazing. Look at that insulation. So I kind of like being, what people look at and say, wow, this is amazing.
And they
Right?
do. Do you want what's your favorite part of your new showroom? Just, you can only pick one thing. One single thing. And
Are
ca-
we even having this question?
I'm going to tell you.
I'm
Wait,
a
don't
bourbon
tell me.
guy.
Don't
it's
tell
my
me. but
bourbon
don't-
bar.
But there has to be one thing. So now don't tell me.
Okay, I won't.
It's the part that raises up and
Yes.
shows the bottles. That's your
So
favorite
I had
part.
this inspiration one day. We do a lot of
you see
TV
this?
lifts. So we'll do TVs that lift out of cabinets all over the place. So I saw one day when I was looking at the mechanisms on their website, I was like, I wonder if I could lift like specialty bourbon out of the countertop. So like when I say, show me the good stuff, it comes up out of nowhere. And your best high-end bourbon just like appears in our new experience center at our bourbon bar. We have a voice-activated system.
Oh, it's voice activated?
Yes.
What do you have to say?
Show me the good stuff.
Oh my
Had
God.
you been
I
paying
didn't even know
attention?
that.
So
I can't find it on your
Yes.
Instagram anymore.
So it lifts up out of the countertop. So these are the things. Plus, we have like a wood countertop like this at our coffee bar that has hidden iPhone charging stations that you wouldn't know, but it has little icons routed in the top where you leave your iPhone and it'll charge right there. So these
I
are the
love
things
that.
that our clients want to see if they're spending $50,000, $100,000, and they want to feel like, wow, this company is thinking beyond what is relevant to in my world, right? Because in Instagram, let's be honest, everything in design and build is Instagram. And they're on Instagram all day.
Yeah, that's what they're bringing you.
And they're like, so we have to be like beyond that, right?
You got to be one step ahead of them. So when they come to question you,
they're like,
you're not like, let me get back to you.
I hate to say, but so many of my competitors are behind the eight ball.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you can just show that you just have a slight edge, this is a competitive market, right? It's not COVID years anymore, right? We're back to competing for work. So you have to show that you know what you're doing.
I just told Greg we need a new technology advisory board. There is so many products and things coming
That's
out.
a great idea, Mike. Because if you can be ahead of the curve and your clients know that, it gives you such competitive advantage.
Even if they search anything on the internet and they come to you, I saw this on the internet, what do you think? And you're like, I don't know. But if you're like, hey, I saw that too, here's the downside, the upside, I can look into it further, but this is what I know so far. They're like, oh, great, he's on it.
Yeah.
But if you're like, let me get back to you, who knows? I don't know, maybe. You know?
They're like, no thanks. I'm moving on.
Yeah, if you have to stay ahead of it. No different in any industry. If you in the restaurant industry, if you say serve the same 10 dishes year after year,
right,
you're a 10-year shelf life. That's it.
That's it.
If you're not changing or keeping ahead of the curve, you're done.
And these type of destination environments like you've created here at Hearth and in mine, people they're not just stopping in.
Yeah.
They are coming for a reason.
Yeah.
They want to see things that are expanding their imagination and saying
Future World at
correct.
Epcot Center back in the 80s.
Yes. So like when I came in here and I saw QR codes to explain what's in each of those displays, I was like, man, Greg beat me on that one. I need that, right? So we're all pushing the envelope, right? So advisory board, huge.
I think we should have like not just all Hearth, like maybe we should
You
have
should bring in other trades.
group,
Yeah,
right?
you bring in, lighting, plumbing, and that's
right, like someone from it, like somebody.
Yeah, and this is how we all increase our business, right? So,
well, there was your sound clip right there.
One other
Commercial.
question I have for you is,
Smart little
what
Mike
is
Bowman.
one thing everybody should have in a cabinet in their home?
So we've been doing this one little gimmick. So I'll give it to you. So we have been hiding paper. Nobody wants to see it on their countertop. So there's all these pullouts that are below the countertop. But think about this. When your hands are soaking wet, the last thing I want you to do is to go grab my wood cabinet.
Right.
Day after day after day for 2 years, you're going to have damage on that cabinet.
Right.
So that little thing that sits on the countertop is the best option until we came up with another. Up underneath your wall cabinet, if I could bury paper towels where you don't see them, but you reach up and it's just pulling down. It's just a roll of paper towels that hangs. So when you open a door, you'll see a little box inside the cabinet, but I bury the paper towels up underneath there. You just grab paper towels. They're never on your counter. Now, granted, people are like, where are your paper towels?
Right.
Oh, just go to the left up under.
Yeah.
And they're like, whoa. Like, I mean, it's little. It's
Right.
a little. But seriously, kitchens are basic things. We need our utensils, our spices, our pots and pans, right?
Yep.
And you want it to look beautiful.
Right.
So it's got to function. It's form and function.
Right.
So to me, function, because I love to cook, is the priority, right? It's got to function. I've been in some kitchens that are amazing that I didn't build. And I'm like, but this would never work for me because I like to cook, right? Like these
It
kitchens.
is really great that you like to cook too.
Right. These kitchens that have just a wall shelf left and right of their range hood.
Right.
So you see a range hood and then you see a marble wall shelf. And I'm like, well, that's great, but where am I going to, like my
What's
plate
the
should be
functionality?
right there, right? I want to grab the plates and serve as I'm cooking. So you have to blend form and function. You really do.
You have
Denise
to.
is right. Like, it's actually good that you came from a cooking background to create this cabinet layout as a cook.
Correct.
And whoever would have thought we'd come
Right.
to that at the end
It's-
or
yeah.
during this.
It's
See,
full circle.
everything happens for a reason.
Full circle.
Right.
So back to our conversation earlier. Let's be honest. We all know this. This is a challenging business.
Yes.
Right? We are in people's homes. Their houses are torn apart.
And it's their most expensive purchase probably in their lifetime.
Exactly. It is. I often say in the kitchen business, because, that's the business I'm in, it's wedding day and kitchen. And it's like, these are big deals.
It's the hardest room in the entire house to redo.
Yeah.
Because you don't realize how much it is the center of your family life.
Of course.
Until it is not there.
Mike, when they're washing their silverware in their laundry room sink, it stinks.
Searching for
Right,
the
or in their powder
microwave.
room. Yeah. Do you guys set up or do you suggest to your clients to set up a little ancillary kitchen?
I just did the other day at the walkthrough with one of our salesmen, Hutch.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's your plan
Yeah.
for cooking when this happens? And he goes, well, I got a pool house over there with a grill. I said, I need you to stop and think. Where does your microwave go? Where does your coffee maker go? Let us, if we get the job, plan a temporary station that you can come to and have it all. The kitchen, I always told my wife, if the kitchen is done
Reverse, tell them why
and
you
the
just
rest
said
of
if
the
we
house
ever
is
buy a
a piece
house.
of junk, we're in. Because it is so impossible.
It's so easy to do a bedroom.
Yeah.
It's so much harder to do a kitchen.
Mike Bowman has been house hunting for 7 years.
Well, because, listen, he's
COVID hit and
he's a carpenter. And
He's just I said, just stay there and send the kids to college in an empty nest.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah, I say stay there. You'll be the richest man on earth.
Yeah.
Like, why spend money on the house?
I'll rent that cart for outside and I'll put a lazy boy outside with a bottle of bourbon next to me and be like, can I have
That's
a
all
snack?"
you need.
Yeah.
That's about all I need, Mike. Yeah. So.
Oh my God. Thanks for listening to another episode of Renovation Radio. I hope you learned something new and that you're feeling inspired to start your next remodeling project. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact Hearth Builders. We're always here to help. And don't forget to subscribe to the show so you don't miss any future episodes. We've got some great topics coming up in the next few weeks we don't want you to miss.